Unions were originally designed in the U.S. to protect workers, but over the years there have been instances of union leaders taking advantage of employees and in some cases misusing union dues. CNN's Kathy Slobogan has the story of one man making that claim and suing the union that is supposed to protect the nation's letter carriers.
When he worked for the letter carriers union, they called him Brother Noble. Now David Noble is an outcast. He's accused union officers of lining their pockets with union money.
It made me very angry. They were stealing from the union.
Stealing?
Yeah, it's a strong word, but I think that's accurate. Hello, my name is David Noble.
How you doing?
How are you?
Okay.
Today, Noble spends his time in a lonely campaign to bring his accusations to the more than 300,000 members of the union, the National Association of Letter Carriers. David Noble worked for the union for 15 years, most recently as assistant to the president. But now he's sued the president and other senior union officers for using secret expense accounts and fringe benefits to pad their salaries. Salaries already 3 times that of the average letter carrier.
These men, and they're all men, make substantial salaries. Many over $90,000 a year, some over $100,000, and to surreptitiously take more is inappropriate.
Vincent Sombrato has been the union president for 16 years. He fired Noble 2 weeks after he made the charges. According to critics, Sombrato brooks no opposition. And according to Noble, he used union funds as his own personal piggy bank.
I discovered that the officers were paying themselves each $500 on the dot every month in what they called in-town entertainment payments.
What's more, while union officers collected thousands in so-called expenses, Noble charges some kept virtually no receipts.
The executive vice president of the union, Frank Connors, over a 5-year period, obtained $34,000 in-town entertainment payments by submitting only $23 in receipts.
$23 in receipts for $34,000 in expenses?
That's right.
When Noble looked at receipts officers did keep, he discovered these from union officer Bill Young.
I discovered that Bill claimed 4 times in the last year to have entertained me. In fact, Bill and I haven't eaten together since 1986.
Over 7 years, these so-called expenses for the 10 national officers totaled $330,000. But that's not all Noble found. The union leaders also voted to have the union pay their share of Social Security and Medicare taxes. The total over 7 years, nearly $537,000. And there's more. Officers got paid for lost time during union conventions, while at the same time getting their full salaries. When you add it all up, it comes to nearly $1 million in income over the last 7 years. Income above and beyond what union members had been told they were paying their officers. Mr. Sombrato, don't you think you owe an explanation to the members about giving yourselves thousands of dollars of extra income without telling the members? The NALC refused our interview request, but we caught up with President Sombrato on his way to work. Did you want a chance to explain to the members, Mr. Sombrato? Sombrato would not talk to us, and he threatened our cameraman.
You leave me alone, Robert.
The NALC sent us a statement saying Noble's charges had been overwhelmingly disposed of by union delegates, and the case is now pending in federal court. The most surprising thing about Noble's story is that his charges were essentially confirmed by an internal investigating committee. Then, at a special union convention, some 2,000 delegates voted to reject the charges. Why? Critics say the convention was packed with people who owed Sombrato their jobs and people who were afraid to cross him.
I would have to say, coming away, that it was a sham.
Michael Willitson was also at the special convention.
There were many people who traveled from all over the country to find out the answers, and unfortunately, they went away without getting the answers.
And all this coming out of our money.
Most letter carriers Noble talks to have not even heard the charges, and when they do, they're angry.
They're taking money just as much as my salary a year.
They took our money.
For David Noble, this has become a larger battle to reform his union. This fall, he plans to run against Sombrato for union president.
Have you heard anything about the charges I filed?
heard anything yet.
Uh-huh.
In the meantime, Noble continues the uphill fight to get the word out.
Well, correspondent Kathy Slobogan joins us now. Kathy, what is the penalty? Is there a penalty for what these union officials have apparently done?
Well, of course, if Noble wins his bid for the presidency, these men will be out of a job. But it's a long shot. Noble feels that the average rank-and-file member of the union still doesn't know what happened. As far as criminal penalties, the Department of Labor, which has jurisdiction over labor unions, won't comment. But we know from sources that they are investigating Noble's charges for possible criminal violations.
Kathy, going back to David Noble, what happens to him now?
Well, when he was fired by the union, he lost a $60,000 a year job and went back to carrying mail for half that salary. He's filed a charge with the National Labor Relations Board saying he was fired unfairly, and of course the union has contested that. But he's won the first round. The NLRB has decided it will prosecute his case against the union.
Thank you. CNN's Kathy Slobogan from Special Assignment.
Thank you.
Very interesting story.